Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my beloved sisters. Hope all of you are doing well. Inshallah, we'll continue with the last special area in the tongue, which is the head of the tongue. From the head of the tongue, we have three letters produced: the letter Sad, the letter Sin, the letter Zai. Those three letters are produced from there, and let's see exactly from where we do pronounce the letters. Here we are using the head of the tongue, meeting the lower teeth, we can say, very close to the lower teeth, but it's not touching the lower teeth. And this, if you try to say as, as you see, your tongue is getting very close to the lower teeth. Yeah, and okay, this is from where exactly we produce those letters. Okay. Should we touch the lower teeth? No. We should keep a gap in between the lower teeth and the tongue, as I told you. And this gap is the gap which will help us to produce the whistling, which is specific for those letters. The whistling is a specific characteristic for those letters. And you're not going to do this if you don't leave a gap in between your tongue and the lower teeth. Okay, let's see. What are the problems we facing while we produce those letters? But before this, we should know that yes, they are coming all from the head of the tongue, but they are not coming from the same place exactly. You will see that some of those letters are coming, maybe one is lower, one is higher, so but they are not coming all from exactly the same place in the tongue. Now let's see the problems we're facing with those letters. The mistakes we have and the people suffer with the Sin, for example. What do they suffer from? When they do recite the Sin, maybe they mix with the Sheen. So why she's facing this problem? My student is mixing her Sin with the Sheen. So why she's doing this? Actually, she had a problem with her lower jaw. This is generally the problem. The lower jaw is smaller than should be, and her tongue then became not fitting the lower jaw, maybe coming longer. And in that case, she's in need to fold her tongue to produce the letter Sin. And when she is folding her tongue to produce the letter Sin, her tongue is touching the place of the Sheen in the middle of the tongue. That's why she is producing Sheen instead of Sin. So how to deal with this? Actually, there is a cure. There is a solution, which is now this student is in need to stretch her lower jaw as she could, and this will help her tongue not to be folded. Okay, like giving bigger space for the tongue, and this will help her, inshallah, not to fold her tongue and then not to touch the middle part of the tongue, producing the letter Sheen. So this is a problem many students are facing with the Sin. Actually, they are not only facing this with the Sin, but they also face with the Zai, the letter Zai. Maybe you listened before to a student saying, for example, Yejizi, she's saying Yejiji. Why? She's changing the Zai to Jim. It is again the same problem. Her problem is the lower jaw. Her lower jaw is smaller than should be, so her tongue is not fitting and it is longer, so she needs to fold it. And when she folds it, what's gonna happen? She will meet the letter Jim, which is in the middle of the tongue, and will mix your letter Zai with the letter Jim, and that's the problem. The cure and the solution is the same, that she should try to stretch her lower jaw forward to give a chance for the tongue to be elongated without being folded. And this is the problem we have with the Sin and with the Zai letter. What else we have? For sure, the Sad is very special, and the problem with the Sad that many are not able to produce the whistling with the Sad. They don't apply the whistling correctly, yeah. And why do they have this problem? Maybe they don't leave a gap between the lower teeth and the tongue on the head of the tongue. As I told you, if you didn't leave a gap, now we are not able to produce the whistle. And this is something normal. Whistling means you need something like a hole or something to have the whistling sound into it. So you'll not be able to do this if you are completely closing the makhraj. Yeah, but you need to leave a space in between your lower teeth and your tongue. What else we have with the sob maybe happening is he is maybe adding air or producing air a lot with the sod. And the problem here that he's not able to do the itbaq. Itbaq means to adhere the tongue to the upper part of the mouth from the back, because this is a heavy letter, sad. And so he's not lifting the back part of the tongue, he's lifting the middle part of the tongue, which is closer to the sheen and producing sheen sound, or maybe producing a lot of air. Yeah. Okay. So this is the problem we have with the sad. Many are not able to whistle because they are not leaving a gap between the lower teeth and the tongue. And produce it, as I told you, the air or the sheen sound because of not lifting the tongue from the back of the tongue, but lifting it from the middle, and this will produce the sheen, not the side. Okay. I think these are the common mistakes we are facing with those three letters. And what else we can find as mistakes for the sad and the sin and the zai? For the sad, we should separate it from the zai. Many are mixing them together. They say, for example, qasdu sabil, instead of qasdu, she's saying qasdu. Here, the sad is mixed with the zai. And in order to avoid this, we know that the zai is having a very special characteristic, which is what we call the B sound. It is like the B, al-aziz. This we will take, inshallah, in the permanent qualities. Aziz, the sound of the B, z, or the Z sound. This is the special thing for the zai, if you want to differentiate from the sad. Else, we want to keep it heavy. And to do the itbaq, as I told you, the sin. What's the problem with the sin else? We should also make sure that to keep it light. Many are doing heavy, like saying mastura instead of mastura. Yeah, and also in some cases you change it to zai. They say usjudu instead of usjudu. So what's the difference between the zai and the sin? So you can differentiate between them. For sure the sad is different because it is a heavy letter. The sin and the zai, the difference, as I told you, the zai is having what? The B sound, but the sin is not like that. The sin is different also because it has air. We should produce air. Is producing air is with it. But with the zai, we don't have air. Yeah? So this is the main difference between them. We're not producing air, or what we call al-hams. No air with the zai. Okay? Okay. What else related to those letters? The letter zai, we have to show that it should be running, not to cut the sound on it. And also, we should not add any air with it, as I told you, because if you did, it will mix with the scene. And you have to keep it light, not to say, for example, زاغت, you should say زاغت, زاغت, like that. Those are the common mistakes we have for those three letters. And by finishing this lesson, we end, alhamdulillah, the major area, which was the third major area, which is the tongue. And inshallah, the coming lessons will be for the last two major areas, the nose and the lips. Jazakumullahu khair.